Let me know when that turns up.
Still on the it's gone now.
Hey, morning folks. Welcome to another set of painting miniatures. I'm Dan, joined again this morning by Maddie, Radio 3 Earth Dawn. Say hi, Maddie.
Hi Dan, how are you?
All right. It's another sunny
Good.
Saturday morning.
It is a lovely sunny Saturday morning.
I wonder if that encompasses the whole East Coast.
I don't know. Maybe. I don't care about what happens in Sydney.
No, very true. Morning, Duke. How are you? You muppet. Right. So sitting on the bench is the results of last week's effort. Can you get on your mat, please? Good boy. So here's the finished fighters. I did get a comment from a friend of mine during the week who is an artist, very accomplished artist. Hi mate. Hi Serena. That she didn't like the yellow. She thought the yellow was a kindergarten yellow, but not the goldy yellow, brown, mustardy sort of one that we have selected for the miniatures moulding. So I went and painted some red ones. Still, I like these ones. I particularly like this one. I don't know why, but the design sort of speaks to me. So yeah, good result. As far as I'm concerned. What we're going to do today is we're going to go back to Demonworld. And we're going to do some men-at-arms. So, as usual, I'm completely unorganised. Spent the entire week scrambling to deliver designs of fighters off to the manufacturers so they can check them. So I really haven't done any painting at all. Well, not much. How's your painting going, Matty?
I'm kind of at an impasse actually. All I've got left is my summoner, my Thor battle mech, which I've slapped a lot of purple on and some orange as well. And I'm not sure I'm happy with it.
Purple and orange.
It's a me thing.
Those are brave colours for a battle mech.
Battle mechs are brave things.
I'm not arguing with you. I've got some Shazvasti here that are purple and orange. At the insistence of she who must be obeyed. Right.
It's a colour combination I quite like.
Alright, it's not one I'm particularly fond of, but there you go. Have a look at what I'm wearing.
I'm just going to leave that one alone if you don't mind.
Yep. So we're going to start with faces. I have to put some goggles on.
Yes, you are disorganised this morning.
I've spent the last hour and a half in the 3D modeler, so...
Fair enough. Since we out here in TV Land can assume that was time well spent making cool looking space planes, then, you know, absolutely forgiven.
Well, theoretically. But in actual fact, I'm working on a space station.
Well, that's even cooler.
Very large communication array. Basically, the Twitter hub of the Livestream universe. What is that?
That would be a
guy
nice
doing?
target, wouldn't it?
Yeah,
For a
absolutely.
miniature war game.
You wouldn't begrudge anybody firing missiles at it, would you?
Not particularly.
Gave up on Twitter a long time ago.
I honestly don't blame you. There is a lot of sewer in it.
Yep. Actually, I don't know how they managed it, but they certainly do bring out the absolute worst in people.
Anonymous quips.
That's the thing, I suppose. It's the anonymity.
Well, just remember you're anonymous until someone finds out that you're actually famous, digs through all your past history of twittering,
Mm-hmm.
finds something objectionable, and then gets rid of you.
Yep. Is there a term in the modern lexicon for that yet? That particular activity?
Probably, but I don't use it because I'm not that sort of scumbag.
Right, fair enough.
Just watch. I'll be cancelled next now.
To cancel my account, go for it. I haven't used it in years. I might just pick that off. One of the things I'm looking forward to trying today is I had some Kalinsky sables turn up during the week.
Fancy.
Fancy. So we'll give those a go. Question could be begged as to why I'm not using them right now, but there's something to be said for familiarity and comfort. Did you enjoy painting your skeletons and your zombies?
You know, I actually did. I enjoyed the skeletons more than the zombies because they're, I don't know, they just felt cooler, I guess. As you may have seen, the paint scheme I did for the zombies is very monotone. Brown and bronze and slightly different brown for skin tone, you know. And it's very samey. There's not, but it's also in my mind realistic and true to the setting.
Yep.
I couldn't see Samsut sending out zombie troops in iron armor for some reason. It had to be bronze.
Well, that makes perfect sense to me.
So yeah, they're all kind of monotone, varying shades of brown, but yes, I enjoyed them.
Yeah, good.
And I think I enjoyed the skeletons more because they're not all the same brown.
Right.
And that's a me thing because, you know, I'm the one who put the paint on them.
Well,
I did enjoy it though.
yeah, that's good.
I'm looking forward to these Isthak beastmen and knights and demons turning up so that I can get back to it.
Well, they're on the way, right?
As of a day or two ago, yes.
Yes.
Fortunately, finally.
Good stuff. So these guys... It looks like he's... Difficult to tell what this is. I originally thought this might be steel, but I don't think it is. I think that might be a leather jerkin, and I think he might have steel scale on his legs.
Yeah, some of those details, it's kind of hard to pick out without some paint on them already, and then you go, oh, I've painted half the unit, and it's not right.
Yeah. And now we're going to have to go back and repaint it. So
or carry on and pretend.
Yes, we do that too. I also suggest he has leather shoes on and gauntlets. I should maybe have thought about this before I started.
You've been making 8th Stream Interceptor a more interesting game. It's perfectly acceptable.
I'm still not over my Facebook post experience. I need to just move on, but
Well, Facebook's as bad as Twitter, so,
yeah. It doesn't need to be a competition race to the bottom. It just doesn't. Actually,
But a race to the bottom is competition, and everyone loves competition.
Yeah, this is right. It's a race, damn it. We're going to win. These guys took a bit of a beating last week. I was doing something and I transferred my Instaset into an eyedropper bottle, which is, it's fabulous, it's great, it's exactly what I wanted, except when I was putting it away the day before yesterday, I didn't kind of get enough height clearance over these miniatures, and I smacked it into them, and I appear to have done quite a bit of bendy damage to swords.
Uh-oh. But that's the great benefit of that polyurethane primer that you use.
Yeah, it's flexible.
I'll admit to have done the same thing.
Actually, I did do some of the older Renegade Legion Interceptor models during the week that may or may not have been for nefarious purposes. But anyhow, I dropped one of them. That didn't go well. Trying to think what colour I should do that leather jerkin. Maybe I'll do...
Why not be exciting and do a white leather?
A white leather.
Leather comes in white.
But did it come in white in the 1400s?
I suppose so, if they dyed it. It's a fantasy game, do what you want.
Yeah, this is true. But again, we were talking about plausibility earlier.
Yeah, and that's how you end up with everything brown. Leather jerkins, bronze trimmings, and Mediterranean sort of area descended peoples. Everything's brown.
I get the distinct feeling that aside from the wealthy people, everything was brown in the Middle Ages. Alright. I have to say, that's not a promising start. Does it point? Sort of. Sort of Kalinsky brush speaketh with forked tongue by the look of it.
That is a disappointing feeling. What's that? A brand new brush? Oh wait, the ends are already split. Next you'll be dropping bristles.
Yeah, more than likely. In the defence of these brushes, they are not Winsor & Newtons, so they weren't $30 each. Because if this had been $30 and it was doing that, I'd be a bit annoyed.
Only a little bit?
Yes. There might be rage quit going on. Oh boy, oh boy.
But it's fine if you want to put it on canvas.
Maybe.
Says the art supply store.
What, if a brush is split?
Yeah, sure, why not? You can paint a house with it, or you can put it on canvas,
Yeah,
or...
right, yeah.
I'm sorry, that's not fair. Most of the art supply people I've known have been artists themselves and not like crap like that. I'm trying my best vapid retail thing.
I used to do vapid retail.
I never have before, so, you know, it's all secondhand.
I used to run a specialist military bookshop.
That would have been very interesting.
Would have been, except we were stuck in a dungeon way, way, way away from the main road. So the only people that used to visit were the people that knew it was there. So
Bane of many small businesses. Location.
That's it. They eventually moved it to a much better location, but that was after I'd departed for my career in IT.
The last specialist military bookshop I used to visit has long since become a backpacker's lodge.
Oh, really?
It had a great location, though. Yeah.
You would have had a Napoleon's military bookshop in Brisbane, from memory.
It wasn't Napoleon's, actually.
There you go. So I ran the Melbourne chapter, so to speak.
Well, the Brisbane one's a backpackers now and has been for about 10 or 15 years, apparently.
Yeah. Tony White got very sick. I don't know whether they sold the business or just shut it down. It sounds to me like they just shut it down. Melbourne one's long gone.
It's a sad commentary on the state of affairs in the world when bookstores aren't profitable.
Yep.
Even with all the protectionism that the government gives them.
I reckon Amazon probably did for a fair few of them.
Amazon and all the other onliners.
Yep.
Booktopia.
Yep. Book Depository.
Yep. And I admit to being guilty of that myself.
Oh, of course.
Because some things you just can't find in a local bookstore because they don't have unlimited space and no eye for profitability.
Yep. 'Cause, 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 'cause
This isn't very fun subject. Sorry to anyone who's listening.
But it is a very bright, happy colour I'm using, so that should balance it out.
Sure is.
And this brush is actually behaving itself very, very nicely once we get over the initial disappointment. It's never going to point particularly well, but
So not something that you want to be trying to do eyeballs with.
nope, not even close.
Yes, I tried eyeballs with my Ardite troops, and it.
Have you got a set of magnifiers?
I do. They're not very good.
Right.
But in this case, the problem was the brush.
Right.
Or brushes that I tried to use.
Yeah.
Yes, funny story about my magnifiers. I went to clean the lenses of them with a soft cloth after the first week of use, and I noticed that the mounting brackets for the main magnifying lenses, it has 4 screws and 2 of them had already snapped off, and I have no idea how it happened.
Ooh.
So the lenses are kind of dangling out at a 2-degree angle,
Right.
which is, you know, a good look for a brand new product, effectively.
Whoa.
But hey, that's what you get when you buy from Jayco.
Well, that's really surprising. I would have thought they would have had a reasonable product on offer for that sort of stuff.
I understand from the discussion I had with the bloke behind the counter that the particular magnifier set that I had bought was to be run out of stock, and that a new model was coming
Right.
at some point in the last 3 years, because, you know, COVID and shipping from China.
Yep.
How's them battle mechs of yours going?
Well, I got an email from Etherworks yesterday saying, hello, you're on our list. You've got, what was it, till the 27th. What's that? That's Thursday next week?
Sounds like it.
Yeah. To change your address if you need to change your address. Otherwise, we're going to ship this stuff to the address we have on file. Oh, and if you want to track what's going on, here's a link. So it's not that far away. Assume if Etherworks is sending me emails like that, they've actually got the product in their warehouse and they're starting to pick orders.
I had an email like that for a book, an RPG book that was supposed to have been released very early this year. It still hasn't come out.
Yeah, right.
But I had an email like that in January for that book.
Ooh. And you still haven't got it?
No, because their printer has been atrocious. And quite frankly, it's a disgrace.
Yeah, that's not good. Yeah, well, going on what happened in Wave 1, I think within 3 weeks of that email on Wave 1, I had the stuff in my hands, so...
Yes, but, you know, the boat could still sink.
Oh, no, I think it's actually in Australia. I think it's in the country.
That might be lucky.
Well, I get the feeling, though, that Etherworks is in New South Wales, so it's probably worth not holding my breath.
I'm not a great one for spreading wild and crazy rumors, but Jeff Kennett announced last night it had been leaked to him that your lockdown would extend to the new year.
Thanks, Uncle Jeff. If our new case rate continues to climb the way that it is, that doesn't surprise me. It wouldn't surprise me one bit.
Me either.
You know,
particularly with the people running the place.
we're not quite matching Sydney's numbers yet, but you know, everything's a competition.
Sure is. And Dan isn't one to. Daniel Andrews, the Premier of Victoria, isn't one to let others best him in anything, particularly not those from Sydney.
No. So I think they sense some real competition here.
For those not in the know, all the Australian states are fiercely in competition with each other for everything.
Yup. If only it were for everything worthwhile.
You mean like job creation?
Mm-hmm.
Tourism?
Mm-hmm.
Low taxes?
Effectiveness?
Punctuality, provision of service, etc., etc. No, that's not interesting at all. Can't do that.
No.
No one will vote for us.
That's right. We're plumbing the cynicism barrel this morning.
We do sound like two grumpy old men.
Mm-hmm.
Probably because we are.
We're those guys in the stalls in the Muppet Show.
Stadler and Waldorf.
Yeah, that's them. Now, is that a plate or is it part of the sleeve? Do I just guess? If I just make it part of the sleeve, then at least we'll get some contrast. I'm trying to figure out how he got his head into that helmet. I think he must have put it on and then somebody give him a hit just to settle it down properly.
It is kind of an odd shape, isn't it?
Mm.
You might just have a very small head.
The other thing I'm really liking is this triangular brush handle.
More comfortable for you?
Yeah, it's not quite so painful. And if anybody's curious about why I do something that hurts, I'm in a stage of my life where everything hurts all the time. So it's about degrees of pain, not the absence of it.
I skimmed over a headline of some study the other day that said basically 95% of people only have 12 pain-free days in their average year.
Mm-hmm.
12.
12, yeah. It's not a whole lot, is it?
Yeah, it's kind of worrying, really.
Well, haven't had a pain-free day in at least 6. Years, that is, not days.
I was guessing months, but
No,
6 years. Wow.
yeah, it's constant.
I'd be bitter and cynical if I was like that as well. Oh wait, hang on. Yes.
Laughing and painting is just ups the challenge level, I guess. Yeah, it's,
I'll try not to tell jokes.
it's a sad state of affairs. It really is. It's another one of these things where you get on with it. You do it. You just get on with it. Well, there you go. Green sleeves.
It worked for Robin Hood.
And all those other men in tights.
Except for Will Scarlet.
What do you reckon? Yellow pants?
Green and gold.
Or is that just obnoxious?
Don't ask the guy who paints everything brown.
Yellow's just a happy brown, isn't it?
I figure it's a less angry red. That's not good colour theory, I know.
Yes.
But, you know.
But there's probably something in that. There's probably a little bit of column A, a little bit of column B.
Why not? Or why not, split it up some?
I want the 12 to be somewhat uniform.
Green shirt, scale man. Pants?
Yeah, I'm going to go for the yellow. Just because the first thing my partner's going to say when she looks at it went, oh, yellow again.
Everyone's a critic.
Everyone's a critic. She was not happy when I came up with my Tyranid army scheme. Not happy.
I'll ask. What was it?
Oh, I'll show you. Hang on. Here we go.
Oh no, it's yellow again.
Exactly. That's exactly what she said. It's okay, there's only 300 of them.
It's interesting. It wasn't quite what I thought that you would have come up with that for the way that you phrased it.
Mm-hmm. It was, when I was looking for the inspiration for it, it was wobbling about the internet looking for dangerous critters, because Tyranids are effectively just dangerous critters. And I stumbled across a picture of a wasp carrying a huntsman spider. So
Bloody hell.
We have wandering spiders in Australia called huntsmen.
And even though they're absolutely benign to humans and are in fact a very helpful creature around the house because they are formidable hunters of other nastier insects, they have no place in my house.
Loads and loads of people are terrified of them because
they are fairly fearsome looking.
Yes.
Like a smaller tarantula, really.
And they can get, I don't know what they're like in Queensland, but boy oh boy can they get big down here.
They get pretty reasonable size.
Yeah. You know, 6 or 7 centimetres is pretty common down here. And they can get bigger. So, I mean, huntsman's a pretty challenging thing. And then to watch or to see a photo of a wasp carrying one of these things back to wherever it's carrying it to lay eggs in it while it's still alive, so that its offspring have something to eat when they hatch, and they eat the spider from the inside, basically. It's paralysed until the eggs are hatched, and then they just consume it from the inside out. It doesn't live long after they hatch, and that's a pretty gruesome way to die. And I'm like, okay, so that wasp is all things tyrannid, basically. The great devourer, so to speak. So I went, right, I'll paint them the way that wasp looks, which was yellow body, black carapace with red highlights.
Fair enough.
And we were playing a game of Warlords of Erewhon some months ago now. This was pre-COVID lockdown, so it's quite a substantial amount of time ago. And I had a bug list, which was based on a different swarm army, but it was effectively just a miniature substitute of, I can't even remember what it was. But my opponent across the table did note to me at the time, he said, that's a very intimidating army.
Mission accomplished.
Mission accomplished.
I think if it were me, I would have gone with a very wet pink.
Oh yeah.
Dripping sort of thing, but that's me.
But then you'd have to be a chaos player, and you'd have to be...
Well, those Slaaneshi demons are the ones that appeal to me. Anyway.
Yeah, exactly. The pink horrors.
Not that I could get into it. That's a long story. And talking about an entirely different thing that, we don't really need to get into when we're looking at these wonderful Demonworld minis. And they are wonderful.
No, they're beautiful. I absolutely failed my resistance roll during the week. I now have a Bane Blade. It's a heckin' big box, that's for sure.
It would make a lovely doorstop.
It will. Maybe I will fill it full of lead.
Didn't the original production run of that come in lead, and it cost like £2,000?
No, but they used to be resin. They were Forge World models. They used to be resin, and they were horrendously expensive.
Right, resin. That's
Resin.
yeah. This was a long time ago. That's not a new kit.
The
And
resin the
I
resin
have
ones.
my bare memory from when I was a kid. Okay, so forgive mixing up lead and resin.
No, they were resin up until about 10 years ago, maybe 8 years ago when they released the plastic kit. So this is just a big plastic model kit. So it's a 35th scale tank, basically.
Of a 100-meter long tank.
Oh, yeah, it's big. It's big. I've got a 35th scale Chally 2 here that I will get around to putting together one day. I reckon the Bane Blade is a 56th scale, if you believe anything about 28mm, heroic 28mm. But the Bane Blade will be bigger than the Challenger. Anyhow, I got some guardsmen along with it because I have to feed something to the Tyranids. And sadly, I've had absolutely zero time for Demonworld during the week. I got to the point where I'm adding the different species to the factions, and it just ground to a halt because all the Etherstream stuff took over. So and there are only so many hours in a day.
Quite so. Well, I think we all know and understand that quality product takes time.
Yeah, I just wish everything didn't take so long.
I suppose you could spend the next 15 years building a cloning machine.
Yep. I don't know what I'd clone with it. Certainly wouldn't be myself.
But then, you wouldn't have all that productivity.
Yeah, but Matty, there are some crimes that just simply shouldn't be committed. The world doesn't need more than one of me.
Okay.
Ooh. And of course I've got my laser cutter up and running now, which means the temptation to do laser cut buildings is there. I want to do some laser cut elven buildings for Demonworld. But again, it's just the sheer time factor.
Damn day jobs.
Damn day jobs.
You could always retire.
No, I can't. I have a relatively new mortgage, which was taken out over a 30-year span. I'm afraid I can't retire.
Medical disability, then. Probably still not enough for your mortgage.
Go for Section 8, you reckon?
Or old Corporal Klinger.
Oh, Maxi Klinger.
In today's army, they would have promoted him.
Yep.
MASH really is a show that is much, much funnier without the laugh track.
Yes. There's some genius in there.
I should get me some of these contrast paints too.
They're a wonderful thing. They're not an end in of themselves. They're just another tool. But I think they did a good job with them. You know, I don't subscribe to their particular prescriptive method of using them, but I mean, obviously they're trying to come out with a system that works for 11-year-olds, so they have to be very prescriptive. Step 1, do this. Step 2, do this. Step 3, do this. Step 4, your mother's credit card. That's actually got a point on it. Leather. What was that?
It's not one of those Winsor Newton jobbies, so you know it's not hand strangled Red Sable in the Siberian wilds.
Ethically sourced.
I just noticed that my 1879 campaign notebook is a Winsor Newton book.
Really?
Yeah. I hadn't noticed that before. It was A5 sized and 100 pages or so and no lines. So I picked it up when I was going through the checkout. Probably explains why it was so expensive.
That's annoying.
Well, I went into the Eckersleys for a mechanical pencil and came out with the mechanical pencil and some refills and the book. And there wasn't much change from a 50.
So either that's a superb mechanical.
It's a pretty good one, yeah.
I reckon you'd know your way around a mechanical pencil too.
Oh, I've had occasion to use them.
Mm-hmm. You would have a professional eye, I would presume.
Well, this one's just for writing.
Yeah,
but yes, I do have a discerning eye when it comes to those sorts of things.
No, I'm not going to show you any of the ones I've got because they're all crap. I may have one that I inherited from my father floating around here somewhere. which would be good quality.
If it was old enough for your father to have it, then yeah, probably. Because they build them like crap nowadays.
Yeah, this was one of these. I reckon the lead that goes in it would probably be 1.5 or 2 millimeters thick, and you've actually got to get a sharpener and sharpen it. And the end of the mechanical pencil is actually a gripper claw, so you don't get that click advance. You've got to sort of let it out, find the length that you want, and then let it go.
That is actually the same type of mechanical pencil that I picked up at that time.
There you go.
It's a Stadler 2mm lead
Mm-hmm.
with a built-in sharpener in the end, and it's not quick advance, it's a clutch release.
Yeah, right.
The only thing I don't like about it really is that the metal grip for, finger grip or finger rest is a little rough on your fingers after you ride with it for 5 or 6 hours.
Yeah, okay.
But it's a wonderfully versatile mechanical pencil, steel construction throughout, it's
Mm-hmm.
solid as a rock, but not heavy. It just grates on your fingers a little after a while. And after a while, I mean, seriously, it was 4 hours.
Mm.
I'm especially fond of the integrated sharpener.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the one that I've got doesn't have that. Where does that come from? Cat hair. Okay.
Brown leather.
Yeah. These gloves is the same colour, I think. I guess the only real issue I have with contrast paints is the price of them.
They are a little exy.
Still, I did spend an awful lot on brushes. I basically replaced 3/4 of the ones that were in my brush block. It's just time.
Well, a couple thousand minis will do that to a brush.
Yeah. And that little bit of delicate surgery on this one's made a huge difference. I don't have the stray hairs down near the point. It's still never going to point terribly well, but okay, guy's starting to look like a chef.
It's a big kitchen knife.
That's not a knife. That's a knife.
Oh dear.
Yes, folks, crappy movie quotes are us.
So it's a rather good movie. I mean, the first one's alright, the second one, not so much. And let's just forget about the third.
Isn't that always the case?
Star Wars.
Empire was the best. So I didn't enjoy Jedi much.
Certainly the case with Star Trek.
I thought Wrath of Khan was the best one of those. Wasn't that number 2?
It is. But, you know, the progression of 1, 2, 3 being... yeah, because the first one wasn't that great, really. I forget what our progression was.
And then there's...
Good, okay, bad, I think it was.
Yeah. Then there's The Matrix. I'm still convinced that number 2 is the better of the 3.
I've only seen the first one. First one was enough for me.
My claim to fame with the Matrix films is that I saw each one of the films on a different continent. I saw the first one in America, the second one in Europe, and the third one here. I really enjoyed the second one of those, so... What about The Mummy? I think maybe the first one of those is the best one.
Sorry about that, I had an internet drop out there.
The dog's gone and got his deer antler.
Fun.
So if there are chewing noises, it isn't me.
I'm absolutely fascinated by this ad that Twitch served up to me for the NAB.
Right. I've not seen it.
Well, it's fair. Let me describe it to you. It's people out walking in the street close to each other, kids going to school, bouncing AFL balls. People smiling, children are happy, the workers are happy. Kids going to school.
So realistic then?
Not anymore.
Not at the moment. Is there a subtitle on the ad that says this is the way you would like the world to be?
I don't think so. In fact, I'm fairly certain that they would like it to be the way it is currently. So that we all stay home, don't spend money, and they keep it all and earn lots of interest on our stuff for themselves. And post trillions of dollars of profits.
The trouble with that is that unless people are spending money, then they don't get any interest, because they get interest by doing investment. If nobody's spending money, there's nothing to invest in.
Yeah, well, no one said it was a perfect system. Yes, the last thing I caught before the dropout was you had just seen the 3 Matrix movies on 3 different continents.
Yep.
Which I guess is about as much as that anecdote needs to be, I suppose.
Mm-hmm. Oh, the next one was, which one was the best film out of the Mummy trilogy? The Mummy series of movies. I thought it might be the first one.
Can't say I've seen any of those ones.
Mm. It's starting to beg the question about what colour am I going to do that little leather flappy below his hat?
More leather brown.
Yeah, that doesn't.
Or, like, you know, make it sheepskin or something. With
Mm.
some textured paint. Although, wouldn't you want the wool on the inside? I don't know. I'm sure you'll come up with something.
Yeah, I just think there needs to be a little bit of contrast there, because otherwise it's just going to be a sea of brown, which is what you were alluding to earlier.
Well, you've got the sword and the shield to break it up a little bit. And the helmet.
Yeah. Keep thinking about it as I go. I could have done his shoes at the same time.
Have you a different brown?
Oh, I've got many, many browns.
Need not be the same leather brown.
No. That's what I
He
was
might
thinking.
even be wearing black.
Black shoes. Stylish man-at-arms.
Why not?
Why not? I was just thinking that he's got a belt on. So maybe I'll do the shoes the same colour as I do the belt. There's another cat ear. Because why not? And then maybe I'll tie the scabbard into those two things.
Not just stylish, but colour coordinated too. Yes, I think I'll have my black scabbard for this battle, do you? And my silver cuff studs. So these are Empire men-at-arms?
They are from the current Empire range. Oh. 4114 according to that. And I'll have to dig out some shield decals because I want to do shield decals on them. Did you get tracking on your miniatures parcel?
I didn't, because of the odd way that the RP web store handles that edition.
Right.
You know how most web stores have their tracking or their shipping options as, part of checkout.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that it was not part of it, but it was an item to add on to the order.
Oh, right.
And so I didn't realize it until a few days after this most recent order was completed.
So it's somewhere in the ether.
It's out there somewhere. The last one took 2 weeks and a bit, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
I'll have to stretch this battle mech out for as long as I can. I tried to do something clever with the cockpit vision slots. It's not really glass, but the cockpit, and I ended up scratching off the primer while I was applying, so I need to figure out how to fix that. That's what I get for buying cheap paint pens. Funnily enough, it was also a brown one.
Brown paint pen?
Yeah.
For a cockpit?
Well, it applies over white as though it was slightly translucent, goldeny.
Okay.
Like,
Yeah.
that gold inlaid visor sort of thing that astronaut suits have. It applies like that.
Right, okay.
So I thought that would look pretty cool.
It would. But not if it's going to scratch the undercoat off.
Yeah, that's all gone now. Mostly because the nib is all dried up and I didn't realize before I started applying.
Got to be kidding me.
It's not a belt, it's a rope.
Yeah, I think you're right.
I mean, that was a joke, but dear oh dear.
I think you're right. It's a really thin loop, so I think I hear the delicate sounds of Zelda. What do you reckon? I reckon under his... I reckon that's metal.
That lower flap thing on the helmet.
Yeah, this...
Yeah, I wouldn't be
breastplate.
surprised if it really was just a separate neck flappy bit for head mobility. I word good today.
A courgette, perhaps.
It's not even an English word.
What really is an English word, given we stole half the language from other languages?
More than half, I reckon. Yes.
Well, so far Brush hasn't been too bad. It's not going to be great though. Oh well. Like I said, it didn't cost me what a Windsor and Newton would have cost me, so. Oh.
A little dried up, is it?
No, I continually make the mistake with the Citadel paints that you open them immediately after you've shaken them, and you just get paint pours down the back off the little paint rest thing here. There's too much accumulates on the back side of it, and it goes back into the cap ring. It's an appalling design.
Yeah, I only have one of those Citadel paint pots, but I find that I never get any paint on the top of the rest. It all clings to the bottom.
Right.
And I mean, it looks like it's there on top, but when you put your brush in it, there's
It's
not much. And it's like, I'll just wipe underneath and then get it all the way up through to the ferrule.
And the perils.
Only marginally safer is dipping it into the paint directly.
What I used to do was dip it into the paint and then scrape it off so that it sat on top of the rest. Another one of those whimsical purchasing moments during the week. Got myself Cyberpunk Red.
Miniatures or the game?
The RPG.
Oh, cool. I bought a copy of that shortly after it came out.
It's a surprisingly chunky book.
I wouldn't know. I bought the PDFs.
Okay.
But, yeah, it's a purchase I was not very happy with.
Really?
Yes, mostly because I was coerced into purchasing it for a podcast game that never happened.
Okay.
I actually haven't cracked open the digital cover and had a look at what's inside.
Well, I was expecting, I guess, something of a similar size to 2020. You know, maybe half an inch thick sort of thing. And this thing turns up and it's a hardcover and it's closer to an inch thick. So, from a volumetric perspective of a physical item, I was rather impressed. I did a quick flick through it though, and it looks beautifully laid out, but I didn't actually read any of it.
Well, yeah, I still haven't opened mine. I haven't opened the files at all, so couldn't speak to that.
Yeah. But again, it was just another one of those whimsical purchases. It's like,
We may have to try and get a game going at some point.
I do have to tell you though that as a role player, I'm an excellent dentist.
I'm pretty bad as a role player, so you know.
That's why you play to your strengths in Game Master.
I wouldn't call it a strength.
I would.
Someone's got to do it.
Yeah. Cat herding is a thing.
Wow, so the table of contents of this this book goes up to 435. So yeah, that's pretty reasonable, and it's letter size, I guess. So
yep.
Yeah.
The pages aren't exactly densely packed text, but that's okay.
Yes, I see an example of that on page 5. 90% artwork, and then I guess that's 20-point type. I admit to actually enjoying the recent Cyberpunk computer game. I don't know if you're a computer gamer at all.
Not computer gamer. Console gamer. So I do have a PS4. It is actually within reach. Sort of. I'd have to punch a hole in a monitor to actually be able to touch it, but...
Well, don't do that.
You know. It's my 4K work monitor.
Oh, so then do it. It's a tax write-off.
Just a write-off. There's a very funny story behind that monitor. But anyhow, So I've played a lot of The Witcher. Wild Hunt. A lot. We put 250 hours into that. But not an awful lot in the last 18 months has captured my attention as far as that stuff is concerned. I'd far rather be sitting here painting.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I certainly don't consider myself a hardcore platform or console or computer gamer. Never have been. I've always been at the casual end.
Yeah. Oh, I enjoyed the game. It's had a lot of bad press.
Yeah, but you enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I think it was
buggy
yeah. As hell, wasn't it, when they first released it? Yeah.
Yes, it was, and it still is. But a lot of it's you wouldn't notice anyway.
Yeah. Well, the Witcher was hilariously glitchy too, so, you know.
Yeah. I never really got into that franchise. I own copies of all of the games, but I've never played the first one. I couldn't get out of the introduction of the second one before I got fed up with it. I sunk a few hours into the third one, though, and quickly became bored with how repetitive it was.
Yep. Lots of people have said the same thing. But for some reason, it's just one of those ones that I enjoy wandering around the world.
I do enjoy that sort of thing in a sandbox game, just wandering around and seeing what you find. Speaking of which, have you seen the news that there is yet another edition of Skyrim coming out?
Yeah, I wasted far too much time on the last one.
This one has a new fishing mini-game in it.
Oh, great. So, yes, Skyrim crossed with Animal Crossings.
Yeah, maybe.
Well, that's all I ever did. I mean,
it's already got all the home building stuff in it.
Yeah, right.
And you could catch bugs in vanilla Skyrim too.
Skyrim Crossings.
I'm sure someone's already done that mashup.
Probably. My partner put a lot of time into the latest incarnation of Animal Crossings.
I'm not ashamed to admit that I still
do.
It's relaxing.
She's... I actually think right now she's playing Skyward Sword.
Well, at least, good taste in games, I guess.
Yep. She actually finishes them. Like, what was the big Zelda they produced? The last big one. Can't think of the name of it.
Breath of the Wild.
That's it. She finished it. Like a 99.8% completion or something.
That's a lot of stuff.
Yep. I mean, let's be fair. She sat there with a tablet on her knee with the walkthroughs going, right, haven't done this bit, I'll go and do this bit.
Well, that's fair.
But, I mean, that's... When you think about it, what was it? 70, 80... Oh, okay, let's say, for argument's sake, say we pay full price for it, so $90. and I think her total hour time in it was somewhere between 300 and 400. So dollars per hour is spectacularly good value for money for entertainment.
Certainly is. I won't talk about my scale of entertainment value on the stream, but that's excellent value.
I will, because the most, well, until COVID, the most common form of entertainment was going to a movie. So 2.5 hours for $20. That's about the scale.
Plus popcorn and drinks.
Oh well, yeah, you know what I mean. But you can go to a movie without that stuff. So you just say that your average entertainment cost is somewhere along the lines of $10 to $12 an hour.
Yep, so, games with very long live playability are excellent value for money.
Mm-hmm. People get a little bit of sticker shock when they go to the game store and they see a game there for $100 or $110. And you go, sure, but you put 250 hours into that, and that is spectacularly good value for money. Assuming
that it is a game you can sink that kind of time into.
Yeah, but the modern world is that if you don't like it, you just put it back into its original packaging and take it back.
Well, that's if you go into a game store.
Yeah, this is true.
The digital world is ending that.
Steam has a refund policy though, doesn't it?
Up to 2 hours played.
Yeah, right.
Oftentimes it takes that long to troubleshoot a game and get it started.
Sometimes.
Fallout 3.
Didn't play those. I've got Fallout 4 and I've never fired it up.
Well, Fallout 4 is a game you can sink hundreds of hours into, but I called out Fallout 3 specifically because it's a game that's still available on Steam, but hasn't been able to work on any Windows platform after Windows 7.
Right.
And yet it's still for sale.
Well, there are still people in the world that are using Windows 7. There's plenty of people in the world using Windows XP.
I remember once upon a time, many years ago now, when amongst my myriad other duties was IT coordinator for the place I worked in. And the corporate overlords decided that we would upgrade from Windows XP to Windows 7. Oh, that was fun. That was a fun 8 months.
Yep, I was going to say, that's about the last thing I would have described that particular upgrade as.
This was at a time when 8.1 was already out.
Oh, so, yeah. But the shift from XP to 7 was not easy.
At least we skipped Vista.
Yep. I hope you skipped the 8 series too, by the way.
I have no idea what the company is currently running, since I have long since separated from them. They're probably on 10.
Yeah, most people are. But 8 was a nightmare of its own particularly unique flavour. miniatures, when I looked at them, when I base coated them, it's just well more than a week ago now, it's a couple of weeks ago, I thought, yeah, these are reasonably simple. They shouldn't take very long to paint. And as I'm working through them, I see more and more detail that is actually going to require attention. So these are actually going to take quite some time.
That is one of the joys of these super detailed sculpts.
Mm.
I was the same way with the 1879 ones that I had. It's like, oh my god, that's something new on every single miniature.
Yeah. But I feel like I'm going to have to get outside today. I'll finish digging my holes.
Still going on those, eh?
Yeah, well, there's a slope on the block, and I'm trying to put a retaining wall in, and I want the top of the retaining wall level, and below the bottom course of sleepers I need 600 to be able to concrete the post in properly. So it turns out that my top course is actually 5 deep, and I've got to go 600 below that. So the last hole I dug was effectively 1.6 deep.
Have you at least got a post hole?
Nope, doing it all just with a shovel.
God. You have my sympathy.
And we're in clay, because Rowville. So, yep, 0.6 metres in clay. That's why that one took a day. I've got 2 more to do. Fortunately, these 2 aren't that deep. But, one of them's full of water, so I'll have to bail it out before I do anything. But I'm actually going to have to assemble the wall, screw it all together, get it all aligned, and then concrete the posts in, and then disassemble it, and then put the proper fastenings in so that it's permanent. So there's a bit of work left out there. It's such a nice day that I've just got to get out there and do some of it. Last weekend I put the vent in for the dryer. This is what I did immediately after the live stream, which, what did that take? That took 4.5 hours. Because there was modifications to the vent adapter coming out of the dryer to clear the base of the cupboard. Then there was a hole in the bottom of the cupboard, a hole in the top of the cupboard, a hole in the shelf in the cupboard, and a hole in the ceiling that all had to be cut. Everything just takes too long.
I won't bring up the cloning machine then.
Oh no. Circular
Can't pay the neighbours' kids to do that sort of work.
No.
Oh dear.
I could
Stuck.
I could pay the partner's kids to do that work, but he's so damn busy he's not even going to come in and assemble my workshop when it turns up. I see that lying on the ground for months.
Better hope it's not Chinese steel.
Well, funnily enough, it is.
Oh dear.
Mm-hmm. I'd end up with some iron oxide enriched soil, you reckon?
once upon a time, a long time ago, I was working on the construction of a power station.
Right.
Most of the components of it were, they were shipped in from overseas. The generator unit was, in fact, surplus from Iraq.
Yeah, okay, interesting. Yeah.
Well, it was American equipment that was to be provided to Iraq because, they keep blowing it. Well, they kept blowing up their power stations in the early 2000s.
Right.
Anyway, this one, I wouldn't say fell off the back of the boat, but it was provided to this company in Australia.
Yeah.
And most of the equipment was either of French or American manufacture. Everything except for the exhaust stack support structure,
Right.
which was Chinese manufacture of Chinese steel. 45-meter long I-beams, basically.
Yeah.
And they came by sea because, you don't fly things that big around.
No.
They were so corrosion damaged at the end of their sea voyage that they were effectively unusable.
Scrap.
Well, they weren't scrapped, actually. They were salvaged at 3 times the cost. Yeah, Chinese steel.
Yep. It is a colour bonded steel. It's not. It's not.
No.
It's not colour bond brand, but it is a colour bonded steel. So that'll just hide the problems.
I'm sure it'll be fine. These lies we have to tell ourselves.
That's right. I've already been waiting for the damn thing more than 12 months, so as long as it keeps the rain off my train set and my equipment, it's all good. All right. Need to wash it out again. I'm struggling with my goggles today. I think they've come a bit loose.
Those are new ones that you're having trouble getting used to.
Yeah. The I don't know what you would call them, the little knobs on the side that regulate the tension on them to move them up and down. They sort of come a little bit loose, and the lens has been sinking slowly, so my head's been coming up as it's been sinking, so I've been getting a neck ache.
That'd be annoying.
Yeah, I've just tightened them again, but my headphones interfere with it, so I need to come up with a better
sacrifice for your art.
I need to get a better, like I should probably use my Bluetooth earbuds and clip-on wireless microphone or something.
just speaking for myself, I cordially despise Bluetooth microphones.
Mm-hmm.
They lead to all manner of problems. I don't mind Bluetooth headphones though, unless I'm, well, sometimes.
Yeah, I've got the Galaxy Buds.
I am a brand snob when
Mm-hmm.
it comes to headphones. I only buy Sennheiser.
Yeah, that's because they make damn good headphones.
They do at that.
I think the set I've got on a Turtle Beach because that was all that was available at the EB Games the night I went looking for it.
I think that's all they have stocked anyway.
Yeah.
That and Razer. But wouldn't buy those.
No. These were the most expensive that I could get in my price range. I think I set myself a budget of $200, and I said, no, I'm not going over $200 because it was a speculative exercise at the time, which I'm not going into, but it all worked out. But I wasn't going to sink, $1,000 into a pair of Sennheisers just on the off chance. I might now.
I've never spent that much on Sennheiser anything.
Really?
$450 is my upper limit.
Yeah, there you go.
But those were really, really fantastic earbuds.
Yeah.
They lasted for 8 years of hard use.
Yeah, that's good value for money.
My favorite feature of them was that you could detach the cables from the drivers. So when your cable frayed or split or wore out, you could just yank it off and buy a new one for $20.
Yeah.
That greatly extended the lifespan.
Yeah. Well, that's the part that gets subjected to the most abuse.
Sure is. And that's why I'm kind of in favor of Bluetooth headphones as a way of moving away from the damaged cable.
Mm-hmm. But microphones? Oh dear.
Don't recommend them. Unless you're trying to do a sci-fi game and you're trying to be a robot.
Yeah.
And even then, you can get voice swappers that'll do it for you.
This guy has a lot of metal on.
It's probably a little more protective than leather.
Yes.
Are those plumes coming out of his hat?
Yes. There's no.
Well, he's the rich one then.
Yeah. There's no obvious sign of how they're attached, so.
Maybe they're just growing out of his skull.
That's what I thought.
No, it's a fantasy game. It doesn't need to be 100% realistic.
He might be undead. He might be Demonworld's Lord Soth. I'm pretty sure he'd be in the aesthetic range if that was the case.
It is a very varied range.
Mm-hmm.
I should have bought some skeletons while I was at it.
I can recommend them.
Yeah, my order comprises mostly of beastmen and knights.
Yeah.
Knights of bad guyness, whatever they're called.
Cleansing Dark.
Right. No ice chicks.
Oh,
skeletons.
No, you didn't buy the ice witches.
I could have, but
See,
maybe next time.
I didn't get the beastmen. I got the ice witches and the skeletons. Yeah.
There might be some ice chicks riding on the back of the bear sled.
There are 3 of them.
Good. Then I have some.
Mm-hmm. All right. I reckon that's us for the day, Matty. This is where we are.
So you're happy with your yellow shorts and your green shirts?
I think so. I think that's
They are colourful.
quite reasonable.
It's a very cheery green.
So if we introduced mass combat as an Olympic sport, these guys could be on Australia's Olympic team. Alrighty. Well, enjoy the rest of your weekend. Thank you once again for the company. Yes. Well, I'm just going to go and dig holes. I don't know how enjoyable that's going to be. But
as enjoyable as you make it.
Yeah, this is true. Getting it done, getting it accomplished will be the enjoyable thing. All right. Thanks, folks. See you next week. Cheers.